Hello, folks. Welcome to today's Montreal. I am Emilio, and I will be the new host for Montreal. Olivier is still involved in Montreal and will stay involved in it, but he asked me to be the new host to allow him to put more effort in the NordSec organization. Um, Today's challenge is made specially for Montreal by the Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity, the CCCS. We thank them very much for this. Please note that someone from the CCCS recruitment team will be here later tonight to answer questions in the chat. If you want to learn more about the CCCS, you can ask questions in the chat right now or later tonight in the channel CCCS dash questions. We'll also have a small interview with André-Yves at the end of the workshop. But before we get to him, I'd like to say thank you to our sponsors, Go Secure, and a new sponsor, Genetec. So Go Secure is looking for an incident response analyst anywhere in Canada, a SOC lead, a senior software developer, which is a remote position in Canada, and a senior technical support specialist. And Genetec is also looking for an intern to work with their application security teams. So if you're a student, you can apply for this one as well. All the details are in the jobs channel in our Discord. So if you ever apply or if you ever get the job, please tell them that you saw the offer from Montreal. It helps us very much. Now on to tonight's workshop. You can follow the instructions either on Twitch or Discord and join the voice channels. So you are encouraged to join voice channels and participate in teams to try to solve tonight's challenge. And as I said, after that, we'll have a short interview with André-Yves. Without further ado, André-Yves will present the challenge. Have fun.
Good morning, everyone, or rather, good evening. So tonight we have a small toy ransomware that implements the encryption algorithm of a well-known big player in the field. I'll leave it as an exercise to the reader to figure out which ransomware it is. But it is a real ransomware. If it is a real ransomware, if you if you if you run it, I made it really hard for you to encrypt your own home directory. But if you play with it, you might encrypt stuff. So be warned. Aside from that, you'll find in the SS file a bunch of encrypted files and the ransomware itself, and of course an encrypted flag.txt file. The goal is to decrypt the flag. So good luck, everybody, and we'll be here all night if you have questions. Bonsoir. Alors, on a oh, sorry, let's do this in English. So we have a small hint for everybody to get started. So one of the things that we can look at here is let's not focus on crypt.py. Let's start looking at run.sh. So if we look at run.sh, we see that there's a few things happening here, but this is the main command that encrypts everything. This is the command, the part that runs crypt.py, right? And if we look at the the rest of this command here, it's exarch commands, and there's something particular happening here that has an impact on the behavior of the script. So I won't say more than this, but this should set you to search and find something specific. So good luck. That's the hint. Did, what? we'll have to remove that the overlay from the stream. But welcome back. So I have another small hint for you. So if you're progressing through this, yeah, you realize that you need to find a key in order to decrypt the flags, and to do that, you need to figure out what the length of the key is. So if you read the run.sh once again, you'll see that we have here a key that's generated with a block size of 128 and a count of 1. So that's an 128 byte key. So this could help you if you haven't figured it yet. So that's the hint. Good luck. All right, so I was looking through my files and I realized that I was lucky that my little pudding head here had not been encrypted. So maybe that's useful. Good luck. All right, everybody, it's time for another hint. So, if we look at the encryption algorithm, the encryption is a little bit simple, but there's a twist to it. For every byte of the clear text is going to be XORed with 2 bytes of the key, and that's going to give us the ciphertext. We have a bunch of ciphertext, and we realize that we have a few clear text as well. So we have the only thing that we're missing basically is the key. So because we have the clear text and the ciphertext, we can remove a lot of the randomness from a lot of the brute force from the key. So if we look at the just go here, the encryption algorithm, each byte of the clear text will be encrypted with 1 byte from the key and another byte from the key, and we know which offset these will be. We can rearrange this, and it's going to give us that the 2 bytes from the key XORed together are going to be equal to a known value, right? We know this, the yellow byte here, and we know the green one as well. So this is a known value for every byte of every correlation here. So this removes a lot of the randomness from decrypting, from brute forcing anything. For every byte, there is a relationship between Ka and Kb. So since these loop over the file, we have a lot of these relationships that we can use to solve this. So hopefully this helps you a little bit in implementing a solution for this. All right. Once again, good luck. All right, take two. So, so hopefully everybody can hear me now. All right, so let's look at this ransomware. So first, we're going to go through what's happening, what happened when the malicious actor was on my box and ran his ransomware. So let's look at run.sh, because this is what was ran by the actor. So there's a few things that happen here. So first of all, there's this dd command that generates a 128 byte random file, and then there's this find command that's Python xargs. I'll just reformat this like this. So the find command that's piped through xargs, that's going to be the meat of finding the files to encrypt and then sending them to the Python ransomware itself. So it's only going to target JPEGs and TXT files in my home. So as I said, pretty hard to encrypt your own home folder with this, but I mean, you can do it if you really want to. There's one bug here, and it's a really common bug when people are writing bash scripts, and it's right here. So when the xargs command is going to substitute this with the path of the file that are found. So we're going to encrypt the file here, and we're going to delete them afterwards. But there's no quotes here, and because of that, this won't work for files with spaces in them, which means that if we have space in files within our JPEG folders, they won't be encrypted, and we'll have the clear text. Well, they will be encrypted, but they won't be deleted. So we'll have both the ciphertext and the clear text for these files. So then after that, the script posts the base64 encoded key to a URL that's removed later in the script, and the key file is overwritten with zeros, and it's deleted. And this is to remove the URL that that it was exfiltrated. So yes, it was a bug. It was intended for the solution. The bug was not necessary for the solution, but makes it a lot easier. So now, if we go look at the actual ransomware here, as I said within the hint, the encryption is rather straightforward. Simple XOR one-time pad that's applied twice with different random offsets, and that is reused for every file. So reusing a one-time pad, we all know, is bad. The one-time there is there for a reason. But let's look at how exactly this happens. So I'm going to go back here. So if we look here, we see that this is the method that encrypts the file, that does the actual encryption. It takes two random offsets, and then they're used to go at a random at these points within the key file, and they are gonna XOR. So XOR with the bytes of the clear text. So the first byte of the file is going to be XORed with one of the key bytes, and another one of the key bytes, and that's going to give us our first ciphertext byte, and then so on and so forth, right? And these loops, these will loop back once they hit the end of the key. So this is where the magic happened. So the encryption is straightforward. Breaking it is not that straightforward, but it's still doable. Once the two random offsets have been generated, they've been used to encrypt the file. Then the file is renamed with the two offsets that have been used. Now, if you've seen this before, it's because this is the encryption algorithm that Hive ransomware uses. It's very, very similar. Now, Hive is a little bit more complex. The key is bigger. It's the relationship between the numbers and the offsets within is not as straightforward. but it's basically the same thing. And if you can decrypt these files, you can probably, with some clear text, decrypt the files from Hive ransomware. So it's interesting, and it's a vulnerable encryption algorithm. There's a paper that's been published on how to decrypt these that I can link into the chat later on. But let's look at the solution right now. So let's go to my solution here. So for this one, I use Z3 because it's simple, but it's not, the Z3 is not needed, and that's not the solution that was used in the paper that I'll link. But you can do it with Z3, and I think it's a little bit clearer what's happening here when you use that Z3. So basically, this is the meat of the solve. We're going to read the ciphertext and the clear text, as well as the two offsets that are used from the ciphertext. And then for every of these every bytes in one of the files, one of the ciphertext or one of the clear text, we're going to get the key byte for that specific. So if we come back here, we're going to get the clear text byte, the key A, the key B, and the ciphertext byte. And if we go to the second one, we get etc. and so on and so forth. And we only need to do this for as many bytes as the key is long. So we're getting the key A, the key B. We XOR the cipher bytes with the clear byte. This gives us a known value, and then we're going to add to the solver this relationship that we know, that the key A XOR the key B must be equals to the cipher byte XOR the clear byte. So this relationship here that we've seen. And we do this for, we only need to do this for 128 bytes for one file if the offsets are right. So in order to make sure that that everything's fine, we're going to do it for every JPEG files that we found, and this will give us the key. So let's run this. So we get a key. It gets written to solved key.bin, and we can use this to decrypt the flag. So the ransomware comes with a decrypt function if you have the key. So that's useful. We don't need to implement it. So we're going to do it did not work. Why didn't it work? No. So this should work. I don't know. Oh, because yes, I didn't put the key. And then flag. All right. And we get the decrypted flag this way. So this is how we solve the challenge. The solver helps because you don't have to do any conceptualization beyond like this relationship here. Once you have this relationship, you can just plug it in Z3, and it'll calculate everything for you. So that's it for the solver. That's it for the solve. I'll just mention real quickly before we pass to the next step that if there's any questions that are not about this specific, like if there's any question about the CCCS or the hiring process, there's someone in the channel, in the CCCS channel, to answer all of your questions. All right.
All right. Thanks, André-Yves, for this challenge. So, as I said, everyone, if you have questions for André-Yves, just ask them in either the Twitch chat or the Discord, and I'll try to ask them to André-Yves. So, let's start with something pretty simple. How did you get started into playing CDF?
I was working for CCERC, the good old defunct CCERC, which used to be the CERT for Canada, and some coworkers were big into CTFs, and I was just beginning in computer security, and then they brought me to B-Sides Ottawa, and I was hooked. It was really fun.
Oh, nice. Um, And yeah, about the defunct CCERC now became and merged with the CSC to become the CCCS. I'm sure a lot of people don't know what the CCCS does or what it's about really. Um, I often have trouble explaining it to people. Uh, could you give it like a small explanation of uh, what it does and maybe what your team does or what your day to day looks like?
Yeah, so basically CCCS is Canada's blue team, right? So we deal with we our goal is to protect Canada's government and every sectors of importance against threats and various nasty things that you find in the cybersecurity world. So we have people from all the different domains of cybersecurity. Personally, I work in the malware reverse engineering team, so our focus is malware. So hence the high ransomware here challenge. Yeah.
Great. And disclaimer: I did an internship at the CCERC back in 2018, and I can vouch for them. They're great people, and it's a great place to learn really cool stuff. So I know that they are looking for people all the time. If you even the interns, if you're interested, you can contact them. Um, for next question, what is your workflow when you create a challenge? Well, are you a big challenge designer? Do you create challenge regularly and uh, or you're more of a CTF player?
I really like to play CTF, but at this point, I've created a lot of challenges for various CTFs, and I guess the workflow starts with this huge text file on my hard drive with just a list of ideas that come to me at really any time. Mostly reading some obscure things about how things work, and so there's this big list, and then when I want to write a challenge, I just grab one from the list and start hacking at it. Often the challenge is trying to see if you can make it work. Can you have a solution for the challenge? For this challenge, for instance, I was looking at high ransomware, and I thought, wait a minute, I think this is probably breakable. This encryption scheme. So this would be an interesting challenge, right? So the first solver for this challenge has to be me. I need to make sure that the challenge is solvable, and that's it's like taking those CTF skills and putting them to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very cool. There is a Fub who's asking, uh, what is your day-to-day job? So André-Yves, what is
Mhm.
your day-to-day job?
So I work in reverse engineering. I get some interesting malware and I reverse them, and then break them apart and find out how they work. And that's basically what I do all day. So this crypto angle is a bit of a it's a little bit like I'm not a cryptologist by any means, but dealing with crappy cryptography comes with like when you deal with malware, you will see a lot of this kind of homegrown crypto where the goal is not to stop you, but the goal is just to slow you down.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
this
absolutely.
Yeah, in this case, it's interesting that they use a crappy crypto scheme for this, because most ransomware these days, they have proper crypto. You really can't break it. Sometimes there's a bug or something, but most of the time it's RSA and CBC AES, and that's it. You're done. But not in this case, so that made an interesting challenge.
Yeah, yeah, and it's I play a lot of CDFs as well, and when there's a cryptography challenge, I'm always interested, but I'm always convinced that I'm not going to be able to solve it because I don't know maths, and it looks spooky. The XOR, the AES,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But when you get to solve the easier one.
Mhm.
Uh, it becomes less and less scary, but sometimes there's that challenge that has a very specific flaw, and it makes me lose all hope in cryptography challenge.
Yeah, there's really, there's two kind of crypto challenge. There's the like applied crypto challenges like this one, where it's less of math intensive and more of finding the flaw and exploiting it. Uh, in the implementation, right? But yeah, I also, I'm not a cryptologist, and when we start to get into the deeper crypto problems, I'm not going to be up there with the pros. But for this, applied crypto is not too hard to learn, and there's a few pretty good resources on the web for that. And it's good to understand common flaws in cryptographic algorithm.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
useful. It's a useful CTF skill.
Once again, a question about the binaries you reverse. Where do they come from? Who sends them?
So we do a lot of research on on common things that we'll find in the wild, and there's a lot of you can find a lot of these online, in VirusTotal and that kind of those kind of repositories. We I see in the chat somebody mentioned assembly line. It's a really useful tool to analyze malware, open source by CCCS a few years ago. So it's helpful to automate this, because it takes a lot of the drudge of my day job away, where I only get to look at the cool stuff that breaks the automated solutions.
Great. Um, there's someone asking about the challenge. If you want to look in the CCCS question channel, starting with, I don't understand how we recover the original key file from the XOR of two parts of the same key, but having the XOR changing for every file.
Yeah, I can go over this again. So basically, we know a relationship between two bytes of the key, uh, and that's not a big relationship. We know that two bytes of the key. Uh, for every byte of the ciphertext, we know that two bytes of the keys XOR to a specific value. So, which means two bytes XORing to a specific value means that we've there's only 256 different possible values for these two bytes. If byte A has a specific value, then byte B is constrained to one value. So basically, every time for every byte A, there's a one specific byte B. So there's 256 combination of byte A, byte B. So that's the constraint that we know for every byte of the ciphertext. And if we just apply this constraint and use something like Z3 to a solver and just gather a lot of these constraints, in the end, the solver will solve this. I won't pretend to go into the reason for why this is doable. Again, crypto is not my strongest skill, but the gist of it is there's a relationship between the bytes and the key, and you can exploit that to recover it if you have both the clear text and the ciphertext.
I have someone asking, do you stream reversing malware?
I don't, unfortunately. Could be interesting. But typically when I'm reversing in my free time, I'm doing things that flare challenge. So that wouldn't be right to reverse to stream that while the competition goes.
Yeah, and it's a very niche audience, streaming reversing malware.
Yes, I'm not gonna quit my day job for that anytime soon.
I have some other questions. How did you start doing reverse engineering and malware analysis?
So when I started at CSERC, I was there coding Java for cybersecurity tools, and they formed the reverse engineering team. So I just jumped on it, and I went in with very little knowledge, a little bit of CTF knowledge, really, and that's basically it. Yeah, I learned everything, from the fire hose, and also on the just by being at the job, and you get a malware, deal with it. So it's been for a rough first few years, but you pick it up, and there's a lot of training opportunities that comes with a job in that field as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
If you're interested to start looking at reverse engineering malware, you can look at the Flare challenges that are published by the Flare team every year. So it's a series of like 10 or so challenges in increasingly hard difficulties. That starts from the trivial and that ends at the near impossible. And there's one every year, and they publish full writes up afterwards. So you can look at these. It's a good source of uh, of knowledge.
Great. And I think you answered the second question. If you pivoted to malware analysis after having another job, or you went straight into it after your studies. So you
Yeah,
you
I
did
started as
something
a
else
dev.
before.
Yeah, I did a few years of dev, and I think it helps a lot being able to code in a few language before you start to do reversing, because well, first of all, you'll have to automate a lot of things because reversing everything by hand is very tedious. So you need to be able to script your tools. And then the second part is, if you know how to code, you know what code looks like. So when you reverse it, you know what makes sense and what doesn't, right? You need to, reversing native code, you need to know C.
Okay. And I think you touched a bit on the third question as well. What was it that attracted you to your job?
Reversing malware is very interesting. It's a different challenge every day. You learn a lot of stuff, and you just gotta. It's a cat and mouse game between you and the people who write the malwares, and it's interesting because one day you'll be learning all about Go because you're trying to reverse a Go binary, and the day after you're learning Auto IT because this specific malware was written in Auto IT. And there's every day you learn a new language, you learn something new. It's very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And on my job, I've been thrown at a malware written in an exotic language, and when you look at that, you're like, it was a language that was compiled in C and then compiled as a binary. When you look at that, and to try to reverse it statically, you're like,
Yeah, time
how
to
do I do that? There's no tooling for that, and if the tooling exists, it's not public. So what should I do?
you got to
It's
write your own tooling.
Yeah, exactly. Are there any other questions from people? I don't think so. So, is there anything you want to plug, either job related or conference related, CTF related? Anything? It's your time to plug something.
Well, at CCCS, we're always looking to hire people. So if anybody's interested, students or professionals are interested in a career at the Cyber Center, We got somebody from the recruitment team that hangs in the CCCS question channel. So go there and ask them a few questions about the process. There's a few links there at the beginning of the channel as well if you want some guidance. But yes, right now there's somebody ready to answer your questions. So go at it.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, André, for this challenge and for this workshop. It's very appreciated. And for the next Montreal next month, we're gonna try to do it in person, so hybrid. We're still gonna stream. There's no guarantee. We're still looking for a place. We're looking for something, but we're gonna give you guys some news very soon. And we're always looking for people to present challenge. So if you have a good challenge that you either designed or solved, you can write us, slide in my DMs. I'm gonna be glad for this one. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and until next month.